The strange message came while most of Earth slept. Admiral Frank Daniels sat at his desk, tired eyes scanning reports. The clock showed 3:17 a.m. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. As head of Earth's Space Defense Force, late nights were normal. But tonight felt different. A loud knock broke the silence. "Come in," he called. Lieutenant Susan Wright rushed in. Her face was pale. In 7 years working for him, he had never seen her look scared. "Admiral, we just got this transmission. You need to see it now," she said, her voice shaking. She pressed a button on the wall. The lights dimmed. A blue glow filled the room as a 3D image appeared in the air. The face wasn't human, not even close. Its skin shifted colors like oil on water, deep purple to blue to almost black. Its eyes were huge, made of hundreds of tiny sections that caught the light like jewels. "People of Earth," it spoke in a voice that sounded like water running over stones. "I am Krex, from the Lumerian people. We have watched your world from far away. We know you are strong fighters." The alien's eyes dimmed with what looked like sadness. "Our once great civilization now begs for help. The Void Hegemony, a cruel empire, has taken half our worlds. Their ships destroy everything. They take our people as slaves. They strip our planets of resources to build more weapons." Krex moved closer to whatever was recording him. "We tried to talk peace. We tried to surrender. Nothing worked. They just keep taking." The alien's voice grew more urgent. "Your people are known in this part of space. You stay apart from others. You build powerful weapons. Now we need those weapons. The hegemony will reach our home planet soon. After they finish with us, they will find you too." The message ended with numbers, star coordinates. Admiral Daniels sat back, mind racing. For 30 years, humans had traveled between stars. They had built colonies on 17 planets. Their space navy grew stronger each year, but they had only found simple alien life. Nothing that could build spaceships or send messages, until today. "Check if this is real," he told Lieutenant Wright. "Then call the President and the Joint Chiefs. Keep this quiet. No news reports." By noon, Admiral Daniels stood in the White House Underground Command Center. President Olivia Martinez looked at everyone around the large table. "Could this be a trick?" she asked. Dr. Alan Green, Earth's top alien biology expert, shook his head. "The alien's body structure is new to us, but it's clearly a thinking being that breathes different air than we do. The fear it showed seems real. Its body language matches how scared creatures act across many species." "What about these Void Hegemony attackers?" asked Defense Secretary Paul Harris. General Catherine Bell frowned. "We don't know much, but our deep space sensors picked up strange energy readings at the edge of our star arm. Something big is moving out there." President Martinez pointed to the star map on the wall screen. "So these aliens we've never met want help fighting enemies we know nothing about." "Yes, Madam President," Admiral Daniels said. "What can we offer?" Daniels stood straighter. "We have 3 new Dreadnought warships almost finished. The Thunderchild, the Resolute, and the Defiance. Each one can destroy an entire continent. With their smaller support ships, we could reach the coordinates in 2 weeks." The room went quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. Secretary Harris broke the silence. "If we help, the whole galaxy will know about Earth and our military power. And if we don't," Daniels said firmly, "we might have to face these hegemony ships alone when they eventually discover us." President Martinez's fingers tapped together as she thought. Outside the thick windows, the White House lawn looked peaceful, under the afternoon sun. That peace had lasted because Earth stayed ready for war. "Admiral, when will the Dreadnoughts be ready to fight?" she asked. 4 days, Madam President." She stood up, her mind made up. "You have 3 days, get those ships ready." Everyone in the room straightened. "From this moment, Earth's time of hiding is over," she continued. "We will answer this call. Ready the fleet." Admiral Daniels nodded, already planning in his head. 3 massive warships, each over 2 miles long. Dozens of smaller cruisers and destroyers, Thousands of crew members who had trained for years but never faced real combat. They would soon face an enemy that had conquered multiple worlds. As he left the White House, his secure phone buzzed. Lieutenant Wright had sent a message. Analysis complete. Alien transmission 100% authentic. Daniels looked up at the bright blue sky. Somewhere beyond it, past the sun and stars visible from Earth, an advanced alien civilization was about to be destroyed, unless humanity's dreadnoughts arrived. In time, he made a call. This is Admiral Daniels. Implement War Plan Delta. I want all shipyard crews working around the clock. The Thunderchild, Resolute, and Defiance launch in 3 days. The greatest ships humans had ever built would soon leave Earth behind. Whether they would return was another question entirely. 3 days to prepare for humanity's first interstellar war. 3 days before Earth's most powerful warships would travel to an alien world and face an unknown enemy. 3 days before Earth's long isolation would end forever. Captain Laura Bennett stood tall on the bridge of the Thunderchild. The massive warship stretched over 2 miles long. Its outer hull bristled with gun turrets, missile launchers, and energy cannons. Never before had humans built anything so powerful. Captain, we exit hyperspace in 30 seconds, said Lieutenant Commander Eric Jones from his control station. Bennett nodded, eyes fixed on the main screen. Behind them, the Resolute and Defiance followed in tight formation. Smaller ships, frigates, cruisers, and destroyers, spread out in a protective pattern around the 3 giants. None of these weapons had ever been tested in real combat. All crew to battle positions, she ordered. Shields at maximum power, weapons ready, but not firing until I give the word. The stars reappeared as the ships dropped back into normal space. Before them hung a blue-green planet. Its night side sparkled with city lights, and diving toward it was the enemy fleet. Bennett caught her breath. Hundreds of black, angular ships moved together like a swarm of insects. They absorbed light rather than reflecting it. They looked like sharp pieces of black glass cutting through space toward the alien homeworld. My God, whispered Commander Daniel Lopez, her second in command. There must be over 300 enemy ships. Scan them, Bennett ordered, keeping her voice steady. I need to know what we're facing. Energy readings are very high, Captain, reported Lieutenant Lisa Thornton from the weapons station. But their weapons seem to be mostly energy-based. No signs of nuclear or antimatter weapons. Bennett nodded. Earth's military had developed differently, using physical projectiles and explosive weapons alongside energy systems. Open communication with the defenders, she ordered. A moment later, a panicked alien officer appeared on screen. His skin flickered rapidly between colors. You actually came, he gasped in surprise. Earth ships actually came. This is Captain Laura Bennett of the Earth Fleet ship Thunderchild. We got your ambassador's message. What's your situation? Critical. The hegemony broke through our outer defenses an hour ago. We have only 30% of our fleet left. Our planet shields are failing. They've never sent so many ships against one world before. Bennett studied the tactical map. The enemy focused their fire on the planet's defense stations. They hadn't noticed the Earth fleet yet. We have surprise on our side, she said. Use it. Get your remaining ships to these coordinates. She sent target information to the alien officer, whose large eyes widened as he read it. That would put us directly in front of their command ships. Exactly. Draw their attention. Make them change their formation. Bennett allowed herself a small smile. We'll handle the rest. As the alien ships began their desperate move, Bennett opened a channel. To all Earth vessels, all ships, this is Captain Bennett. Humanity is about to fight its first space war. These people asked for our help, and we will not let them down. She paused, looking at her determined crew. Execute Battle Plan Omega. Weapons free. The Earth. Fleet accelerated toward the unsuspecting enemy. The huge engines of the dreadnoughts glowed bright blue-white as they picked up speed. Launch kinetic penetrators, Bennett ordered. From the Thunderchild's front section, hundreds of tungsten metal rods shot forward at nearly the speed of light. The Resolute and Defiance fired similar volleys. The enemy ships, designed to block Energy weapons had no defense against simple physics. Mass times speed equals unstoppable force. The metal rods tore through their hulls, leaving gaping holes that vented air and crew into space. Direct hits on 27 ships, reported Lieutenant Thornton. They're breaking formation. The enemy fleet, suddenly aware of the new threat, began to turn. Energy beams shot out toward the Earthships. Evasive pattern Delta, Bennett ordered, as the Thunderchild shook under multiple hits against its shields. Bring us within missile range. For the next hour, space around the alien homeworld became a chaotic battlefield. The enemy's number advantage was partly offset by Earth's unexpected tactics and weapons. The dreadnoughts plowed through the enemy formation, their defensive lasers creating a protective bubble while their main guns devastated the enemy ships. But the cost was high. 3 Earth frigates were destroyed, and the Defiance suffered heavy damage to its engines. They're regrouping, Commander Lopez warned as the remaining enemy vessels pulled back, forming a new attack pattern. Bennett wiped blood from a cut on her forehead where a console explosion had caught her. So they can learn. Good to know. She studied the tactical display. Have the Resolute cover the Defiance. We're going after their command ship. The Thunderchild accelerated, its remaining escort vessels following closely. On the view screen, a massive black vessel twice the size of the others grew larger. All power to forward shields, Bennett ordered. Prepare to fire the main gun. The Dreadnought's biggest weapon, powerful enough to crack a small moon, hummed as it charged. The enemy command ship launched a barrage of energy torpedoes in response. Brace you. For impact, Bennett shouted. The bridge shook violently as multiple hits overwhelmed sections of the shield. 3 decks reported breaches. Main gun at full charge, Lieutenant Thornton reported. Bennett's eyes narrowed. Fire. The Thunderchild shuddered as the massive weapon fired. A blinding beam crossed the space between the ships in an instant. The enemy command vessel's shields glowed brightly for a moment before failing. The beam continued through, cutting the massive ship in half. Secondary explosions rippled along its length as power systems overloaded. Command ship destroyed, Lieutenant Thornton announced, unable to hide the awe in her voice. The effect on the enemy fleet was immediate. Their perfect coordination fell apart. Individual ships began to fire randomly or try to escape. They operate on a hive mind system, Commander Lopez realized. We just cut off the head. Bennett nodded grimly. And, now we finish this. All vessels target remaining enemy ships, no mercy. The battle raged for another 2 hours, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. When the last enemy vessel was reduced to floating debris, Captain Bennett finally allowed herself to relax in her command chair. Casualties? She asked quietly. 5. Ships lost, Commander Lopez reported solemnly. About 800 crew. The Defiance is badly damaged but can be fixed. The Resolute reports moderate damage. Bennett closed her eyes briefly. Open a channel to the alien command. The same officer appeared, his skin now a bright electric blue. Captain Bennett, he said, his voice filled with emotion. You saved our world. The Void Hegemony has never been defeated in open battle before today. We answered your call for help, Bennett said simply. What's your status? Our planet shields held, though barely. Civilian casualties are minimal. The officer's compound eyes seemed to shimmer. Our leaders want to meet with you and your officers. There is much to discuss. Bennett nodded. We'll come down in an hour. She paused. And tell your leaders that this was just the first wave of Earth's forces. If the hegemony returns, they'll face even stronger resistance. After ending the transmission, Commander Lopez leaned closer. That was a bluff, wasn't it? We used nearly a third of Earth's space navy in this battle. Bennett's lips curved in a slight smile. What the hegemony doesn't know won't hurt them, but it might make them think twice before attacking again. As she looked at the alien homeworld on the view screen, Bennett wondered what humanity had just gotten itself into. One battle won, but at what cost? And what new enemies had they made? The galaxy, it seemed, was a far more dangerous place than Earth had imagined. 1 month after the battle at the alien homeworld, Admiral Frank Daniels stood in Earth's Orbital Defense Command, Through the large windows, he watched workers swarm over new ships being built. 6 more dreadnoughts were under construction, their huge frames taking shape in the busy shipyards. "Production is ahead of schedule," said General Catherine Bell, standing beside him. "Amazing what a real alien threat can do for military funding." Daniels nodded grimly. "The information the aliens gave us is eye-opening. The Void Hegemony controls 73 star systems they've been expanding for over a century. And we bloodied their nose," said Defense Secretary Harris. "What's the latest from our new allies?" "Their scouts report increased activity at hegemony staging areas," Daniels replied. "They're gathering their fleets. The attack on the Lumerian homeworld was just their western expansion. Now they know about us." President Martinez's image appeared on a screen beside them. "Your assessment, Admiral?" "They'll come for Earth, Madam President. Not right away. They need time to study our technology and tactics, but they will come. I think we have 6 months at most." "Then we strike first," Martinez said without hesitation. "The Joint Chiefs have reviewed your plan. Operation Longbow is approved." Daniels stood straighter. "Thank you, Madam President. I'll leave for the Thunderchild immediately." 24 hours later, Admiral Daniels addressed the commanders of the largest battle fleet humanity had ever put together. 5 dreadnoughts, including the repaired Defiance, formed the core of a force with over 100 warships. "The information provided by our new allies gives us a unique opportunity," Daniels explained, pointing to a star map showing enemy territory. "This system, called Tartarus, serves as their main shipyard and fuel processing center. Our analysis suggests it's defended by a fleet about twice the size of what we faced before." Captain Bennett, now with a new scar along her jawline, studied the map. "Their defenses will be on high alert after our last fight." "Which is why we won't be attacking directly," Daniels replied with a thin smile. "Lieutenant Commander Jones has developed a new approach to hyperspace jumps. Eric, please explain." The young navigation officer from the Thunderchild stepped forward. "Normal hyperspace rules require ships to come out at the edges of a star system to avoid gravity problems. The hegemony will expect us to follow these rules." Jones highlighted several paths on the display. "I've calculated a way to do a precision jump that will bring us out directly above their shipyards. It's dangerous. The gravity forces could tear our ships apart, but it would give us complete surprise." Silence fell across the command center as the fleet officers considered what this meant. "How long would we have before their defensive fleet could respond?" asked Captain Greg Phillips of the Dreadnought Resolute. "About 12 minutes, Jones replied. "Enough time for a synchronized strike on their main facilities." Admiral Daniels looked at the faces around him. "This mission is voluntary. The risks are extreme." "The Thunderchild is in," Bennett said immediately. One by one, the other commanders agreed to join. 3 days later, the Earth fleet entered hyperspace, heading deep into enemy territory. On the bridge of the Thunderchild, Lieutenant Commander Jones watched the hyperspace calculations with intense focus. Approaching jump coordinates, gravity interference increasing. Admiral Daniels gripped the railing as the ship shook violently. "Status? Hull integrity at 87%, reported Commander Lopez. "The Vigilant and Dauntless are reporting severe structural stress. Tell them to fall back to secondary positions if necessary," Daniels ordered. "The dreadnoughts must get through." "Coming out of hyperspace in 5 seconds, Jones announced, his fingers moving quickly across the controls. The hyperspace tunnel collapsed with a violence never before experienced in human space travel. The Thunderchild bucked like a wild animal as reality snapped back into place. When the main screen cleared, they found themselves exactly where Jones had promised, directly above the massive enemy shipyards. Dozens of half-built ships hung in their construction frames. Huge refineries processed raw materials from nearby asteroids. Everywhere, enemy workers scrambled in panic at the sudden appearance of Earth warships in their most secure space. "All ships execute attack pattern Epsilon," Daniels commanded. "Priority targets are fabrication facilities, fuel depots, and incomplete capital ships. Launch all fighters." The Earth fleet opened fire simultaneously. Railguns accelerated projectiles to near light speed. Missile batteries emptied their loads. Fighter squadrons poured from launch bays to target specific installations. The enemy's orbital defenses responded, but they had been positioned to fight attacks from the system's edge, not from directly overhead. Their firing solutions were confused, their response uncoordinated. "First wave of targets destroyed," reported Lieutenant Thornton from Tactical. "Fuel depots are burning. 3 shipyard sections have gone dark." On the tactical display, Daniels could see the enemy defense fleet beginning to move, turning slowly, to engage the unexpected threat. 7 minutes until their fleet can bring weapons to bear, Jones warned. Daniels nodded. "Deploy the Nova warheads." From special bays on the Defiance, 12 missiles launched toward specific coordinates. Each contained a nuclear device surrounded by special elements. Weapons designed not just to destroy but to render areas uninhabitable. "Warheads away," Captain Nancy Klein of the Defiance confirmed. "Detonation in 30 seconds. Daniels opened a fleet-wide channel. "All vessels prepare for emergency hyperspace jump on my mark." The Nova warheads detonated simultaneously across the enemy shipyards. The explosions were incredible. Miniature suns blooming in the darkness, vaporizing everything nearby and bathing surrounding areas in deadly radiation. "Mark!" Daniels commanded. The Earth fleet vanished into hyperspace moments before the combined shockwaves reached their position. Behind them, the Tartarus shipyards, heart of the enemy's industrial might, collapsed into radioactive ruin. The return journey was tense. 2 frigates had been lost in the attack, and the Vigilant had suffered critical damage during the hyperspace approach. But as the fleet emerged at the meeting point in neutral space, a sense of grim accomplishment settled over the crews. In the Thunderchild's ready room, Daniels met with his senior commanders. "Early analysis suggests we destroyed 60% of their shipbuilding capacity and nearly 80% of their refined fuel reserves," he told them. "Our new allies' intelligence networks report chaos throughout hegemony territory. Their leadership is in disarray." "Will they strike back?" asked Captain Bennett. "Eventually," Daniels admitted. "But we've bought ourselves time to build. More ships strengthen our defenses, make more allies." Captain Phillips of the Resolute leaned forward. "They never expected us to strike so deep into their territory. The psychological impact alone." "Exactly," Daniels said. "The hegemony built its empire on fear, the belief that resistance was pointless. We've shattered that belief." Bennett's expression remained troubled. "We also showed that humans are willing to use radiation weapons against an enemy's homeworld." "A necessary message," Daniels replied firmly. "The hegemony understands only one language: power. We've shown them that Earth speaks it fluently." As the officers left, Captain Bennett stayed behind. "Something on your mind, Captain?" Daniels asked. "We've committed ourselves to this war," she said quietly. "There's no going back now." Daniels looked out the window at the assembled fleet. Humanity was never going to stay isolated forever. "Laura, better to enter the galactic stage on our terms than theirs." "And what terms are those, sir?" Daniels's expression hardened. "That we will not be conquered, that we will not stand by while others suffer, and that those who threaten us will feel the full might of Earth." As if to emphasize his words, the dark shapes of the dreadnoughts drifted across the stars, a sign of humanity's new role in the galaxy. 6 months after the raid on the enemy shipyards, Earth had changed. The discovery of intelligent alien life, both friendly and hostile, had united humanity in unexpected ways. Old fights between nations were put aside as resources went into defense and shipbuilding. The first alien diplomats had been welcomed with caution, but their thankfulness and technology sharing quickly won over Earth's leaders. A formal alliance now connected 17 human worlds with the 32 surviving systems of the Lumerian aliens. Admiral Daniels stood on the viewing deck of Orbital Defense Station Alpha, watching as the newest additions to Earth's fleet practiced maneuvers. 12 dreadnoughts now formed the backbone of humanity's space force, each more powerful than the original 3 that had first fought the hegemony. "Impressive, isn't it?" said a voice behind him. Daniels turned to find Captain Bennett, recently promoted to fleet commander. Fairy, though I hope we've built enough. Bennett nodded grimly. The Alien Intelligence Network reports that the hegemony has called back forces from all its territories. They're coming, sir. How many? At least 20 capital ships, with several 100 support vessels. Their largest fleet ever assembled. Daniels wasn't surprised. The destruction of the Tartarus shipyards had wounded the hegemony deeply, but also united them against a common enemy. When will they arrive? 3 days, Bennett replied. They're taking a roundabout route, avoiding known monitoring stations. They hope to surprise us, Daniels mused. Let them think they have it. Earth's defense plan had been months in the making. Hidden throughout the solar system were automated weapons platforms, minefields, and sensor stations. The gas giants' atmospheres hid squadrons of stealth fighters. Civilian populations had been moved to hardened underground shelters, and beyond the orbit of Pluto waited the true surprise, a minefield of Nova warheads controlled by special encrypted triggers. 2 days later, President Martinez addressed the United Earth government. For most of our history, humanity looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. She began, her voice steady. Now we know the answer, and we have found both friends and enemies among the stars. The room was silent, representatives from every Earth nation and colony world listening closely. Tomorrow the void hegemony will enter our solar system, believing they come to conquer. They come instead to face judgment. Martinez's eyes flashed. Humanity did not start this conflict. We answered a call for help from a people facing destruction. We struck only after learning of the hegemony's crimes across dozens of worlds. She stepped away from the podium, her voice rising. Let history remember that Earth stood for something greater than just saving ourselves. Let it be known throughout the galaxy that we are not to be taken lightly, and that those who call us allies will not be abandoned. As applause filled the room, Admiral Daniels received the alert he had been expecting. The hegemony fleet had been detected crossing the edge of the solar system. 12 hours later, Daniels stood on the bridge of the Thunderchild, now the flagship of Earth's first fleet. Around him, officers moved with quiet efficiency as they prepared for battle. Hegemony fleet approaching Neptune's orbit, reported Lieutenant Commander Jones. They're staying in tight formation. Any sign they've detected our defenses? Daniels asked. No, sir. Their scan patterns show standard approach procedures. Daniels nodded. Send the codes for Operation Falling Star. As the hegemony fleet passed Neptune, they met the first layer of Earth's defenses. Stealth fighters launched from hiding places within the gas giant storms, targeting the smaller escort vessels at the fleet's edges. At the same time, automated weapons platforms emerged from hiding among the moons, firing volleys of missiles. The hegemony responded with brutal efficiency, destroying many of the fighters and platforms, but not before losing 37 ships. They're accelerating toward Earth, Bennett reported, bypassing the outer system defenses. As expected, Daniels replied calmly. Activate the minefield. In the space between Neptune and Uranus, hundreds of cloaked mines detected the passing hegemony vessels and attached themselves to hull plates. Timed explosions rippled through the enemy formation, causing further losses and forcing them to tighten their defensive posture. Still, most of the fleet pressed onward, their black ships absorbing the light of the distant sun as they moved steadily toward Earth. They're adapting to our tactics, Bennett observed. Their point defense systems are better than our intelligence suggested. Indeed, Daniels agreed. Time to show them something new. Signal the fleet. Execute Hammer of Dawn. Earth's dreadnoughts, hidden in higher dimensional space using technology adapted from Lumerian science, emerged simultaneously around the hegemony fleet. The massive human warships now outnumbered the remaining enemy capital ships, surrounding them in a three-dimensional cage of firepower. All ships open fire, Daniels commanded. The space around the gas giants blazed with energy as the two fleets engaged. Earth's railguns and missile batteries pounded the hegemony vessels, which responded with energy weapons that cut through armor plate like paper. For 3 hours, the battle raged across the outer solar system. Ships on both sides were reduced, to expanding clouds of debris. The Resolute was lost with all hands when 3 hegemony cruisers focused fire on its engine section. The Defiance rammed a hegemony dreadnought when its weapons systems failed, the resulting explosion visible as a new star from Earth. On the Thunderchild's bridge, now operating on emergency power after multiple direct hits, Daniels received the report he had been waiting for. Hegemony command vessel identified, Lieutenant Thornton announced, blood running from a cut on her forehead. Designated Alpha 1. The tactical display showed a massive ship at the center of the remaining hegemony formation, twice the size of any they had previously seen. All functional vessels target Alpha 1, Daniels ordered. Prepare to execute Operation Sunspear. The Thunderchild and 6 other surviving dreadnoughts moved into position, forming a perfect circle around the hegemony command ship. Each activated a specialized emitter, technology based on the Lumerians' planetary defense shields but modified for offensive use. Emitters at full power, reported Commander Lopez. Field stability at 97%. Execute, Daniels commanded. 7 beams of concentrated energy shot toward the hegemony vessel, not hitting it directly but creating a containment field that trapped it. Inside the field, space itself began to distort as the laws of physics were selectively altered. On the main view screen, Daniels watched as the massive enemy ship twisted unnaturally, its hull buckling as gravitational forces multiplied exponentially. Within the field, metal screamed, atmosphere vented, and finally, the entire vessel imploded, crushed by forces no material could withstand. With their command ship destroyed, the remaining hegemony vessels tried to retreat, only to encounter the final layer of Earth's defenses. Beyond Pluto, Nova warheads detonated in sequence, creating a wall of radiation and destructive force that engulfed the fleeing ships. When the energy signatures faded, not a single hegemony vessel remained intact. Victory confirmed, Bennett announced, her voice hoarse from hours of issuing commands. All enemy ships destroyed or disabled. A ragged cheer went up from the bridge crew, quickly fading as they realized the cost. Of Earth's 12 dreadnoughts, only 7 remained operational. Nearly 40 smaller vessels had been lost. Thousands of crew members would never return home. In the days that followed, as Earth began to recover and mourn, a message arrived from the borders of former hegemony space. The conquered worlds, learning of the decisive defeat of their oppressors, had risen up. The empire that had terrorized the galaxy for a century was collapsing from within. 1 month later, representatives from 27 alien civilizations gathered in the newly built Galactic Assembly Hall in Geneva. Admiral Daniels and Captain Bennett stood at attention as President Martinez signed the Treaty of Sol, establishing a mutual defense pact among the former victims of the hegemony. As the ceremony ended, Ambassador Krex of the Lumerian Coalition approached the Earth officers. When we sent that desperate message, we hoped for a single warship, maybe 2, the ambassador said, his skin shifting to a deep, respectful purple. Instead, you came with dreadnoughts that blotted out the stars, and you kept coming until our enemy was no more. Daniels nodded solemnly. That's what allies do. The galaxy will never be the same, Krex observed. Already your people spread among the stars, establishing trade routes, rebuilding worlds the hegemony destroyed. Many fear you will simply replace one empire with another. Bennett stepped forward. Earth has no interest in conquest, Ambassador, but we will not hide from the galaxy any longer. We will defend our friends, punish our enemies, and ensure that no power ever threatens peace in this sector again. As the ambassador left, Daniels looked through the hall's glass dome at the night sky. Among those distant points of light, Earth's ships now patrolled, carrying humanity's determination and power to worlds that had only recently learned of their existence. Was it worth it? Bennett asked quietly. Daniels thought about the question, remembering the crews lost, the ships destroyed. Then he looked at the diverse gathering of species, beings who now lived in freedom because Earth had answered their call.